AITA for telling my friend to stop forcing Jesus onto me because of her ridiculous level of Christianness, throwaway account, and fake names. I, 18F, am with this girl Jessica, 18F, in the same friend group in high school. Jessica is a devout Christian and goes to a Presbyterian church every Sunday for Mass. I have no problem with this, and it was nice to see that she was able to live a happier life because of her Christianity. Her religious expression was very normal and nuanced at first. She would do things like wearing a cross necklace, adding Bible verses in her socials, etc. The issue came with when she would show up to our lunch table with a Bible and kept reminding us about how God is great, etc. The last straw came when she had made a separate Instagram account dedicated to making posts about the Bible and telling people on how to live a holy life. She had even tried to make her own Christian podcast at one point. At one lunchtime, she told us she was ranting about how offensive it was for people to wear things like cross jewelry when they weren't even Christian, and how egregious Jesus Christ Superstar, one of my favorite musicals, was. I told her that while her religious beliefs were fine, me and my friends were frankly getting sick and tired of her bringing Jesus, God, and the Bible into every single conversation, as well as on her social medias. I also further reminded her that recontextualizations of the Bible were perfectly fine, and that the musical was a medium to explore the humanity of Jesus, because frankly he is human like us. Jessica got offended and looked at me coldly before responding with, "Are you suggesting you're better than Jesus?" I got sick and tired of her at this point and said to her sarcastically, "Look, Jesus loves you, but he wants you to shut the FCK up." I then got heated in the moment and told her that her level of devoutness was extremely ridiculous, before telling her that she didn't need to make her Christianness as her entire personality. I also bluntly told her it seemed like she was subtly suggesting she was better than the rest of us just because she practiced her Christianity a lot. Jessica hasn't talked to me since then, and I'm wondering if I did overstep a little bit. My friends agree with me, saying that Jessica's behavior was extremely weird and that she was a hypocrite. Meanwhile, my inner self is feeling conflicted. I feel like the sarcasm/swearing was stooping down to her level. So Reddit. AITA here? Now to the next story, Story 2. AITA for making my family cancel their vacation because I won't watch their dogs? My parents, 82M, 75F, asked if I would help them book a much-needed vacation. They also asked me to do the same for my brother, 43, and SIL, 33, because they wanted to take a family vacation in September. My husband, 46, and I, 41F, can't afford to go because I am currently out of a job. Even though this would be the first family vacation I will have ever missed, and it made me really sad, I said I would of course help. My mom even mentioned to me that in a way it's good because I'd be able to watch my brother's pugs and my parents' chihuahua. Here's the thing about watching the dogs. It's a 24/7 job that requires me to stay at my brother's house. The dogs are wonderful, but very high maintenance. Because of this, I have been telling my brother for nearly 10 years that he needed to hire a dog sitter. Money isn't an issue for him. I've dog sat for them 3 times this past year, varying from 1 to 5 nights. They paid me well, but I do not feel comfortable staying at their house, and I find the round-the-clock care exhausting. My husband and I have 5 cats, and we are no stranger to feeling like our pets are our kids, but we don't have dogs for a reason. Now, I'm supposed to be booking this trip for my brother, but he hasn't even asked me about watching the dogs. Sunday at family dinner, everyone is there except my SIL, who was ill. My brother was sitting across from me, so I reach out to hold his hand and say that I love him. I love the pugs, but I can't watch them when they go on vacation, and that he needs to get a dog sitter. I said it was just too much to ask me to be trapped at their house for 7 nights, and that I have been asking him to hire a dog sitter for nearly a decade. I even offer suggestions and said I'll help find someone. He starts to get reactive and says that they won't watch my cats anymore. I said that's fine, we have a cat sitter, but I point out that I asked them if they can help. They, on the other hand, didn't ask me. My brother finally concedes that it is a lot to ask 7 nights and 5 dogs. Excuse me? Yes, 5 dogs, because his MIL apparently was planning to go too. So now added to the mix are 2 Italian greyhounds. I stay calm and gently point out that I felt this way before knowing there were 5 dogs. Can he imagine how I felt? He seemed to understand. By the time I left dinner, there were hugs and kisses and all was well. I knew my brother was upset, but he seemed to understand, and I was really proud of putting up boundaries. The next evening, I called my parents to see if they have heard from my brother. Apparently, he called them after he got home from family dinner and was blindsided by me. My SIL was just as upset as him too. They think I'm throwing a tantrum because I can't go on the vacation. While yes, that sucks, I told him my real issue is being trapped at their house for 7 nights. Now they are canceling the vacation BC. I won't watch the dogs. Now update. My brother apologized and we were having a very good and calm conversation. We were getting to a point where I was willing to make a compromise because I finally felt heard. Then my SIL, who had had an attitude the whole time, snappily said, "Okay, so what do we need to do to resolve this?" Things started to get heated because I felt her tension and tried to acknowledge it. I said that I was really hurt by my SIL's actions. I left it out of my OG post, but she was complaining about helping me clean my house before my wedding. I later found out that she told my dad that I had moldy dishes in the sink, and that was humiliating. I said it hurt a lot when I learned she brought it up again as part of her argument why I should watch the dogs. She sarcastically said, "Oh, so I'm the villain." I said, "I feel like from what I have gathered from my parents this past week that you think I'm sabotaging this vacation because I'm jealous that I can't go. And if you think that, you really must not know me, and that hurts." And she said with the same rude tone as earlier, "I must not know you because that is 100% what I think." My eyes welled up because I felt like she had just sucker punched me, and she looked at me and said, "Here comes the temper tantrum." I stood up to leave. Then I turned around again and said over everyone yelling my name to calm down, "If you with all your time, money, and resources decide to not go on vacation, that is your own decision and not because of me." I got the hell out of the house and sat in the car until my husband came out. She was in my wedding. I have been so happy to have her as my SIL. I have been nothing but loving to her. Now I see she doesn't give a FCK about me. I'm gutted. It's clear that she has zero respect for me and probably never even liked me. I'm devastated because my family is everything, and I feel like my relationship with my brother will forever be altered. She is not the person I thought she was, and now I'm not only not watching the dogs, but I guess I am also accepting that I don't have a sister like I thought I did. Next story, Story 3. AITA for opening my M28 girlfriend's F27 gift that she did not want to open. My girlfriend recently had a birthday. We had a small get-together at our apartment, but my girlfriend feels uncomfortable opening gifts in front of people because of the pressure, and all of our friends know that. She opened them privately that evening. 2 days later, my parents' gift arrived. My parents are on the wealthy side and bought her a designer handbag she had been openly admiring the last time we visited. They had purchased the bag that weekend and had been saving it for her birthday. She responded a thank you before she opened it and would let them know when she did. The box sat on our dresser for about 2 days before my parents sent a text wondering if she had opened it yet. I asked her when she would open the gift, and she just shrugged and said, "Soon." I was also really excited to see her open this gift. I knew that it was something she really wanted. A few more days passed. My parents checked in again about whether she had opened the gift. At this point, my girlfriend came to me and asked if I could tell my parents to back off, as she was feeling too much pressure around opening the gift and it was making her not want to open it. I admit that I have never really understood this, and I told her that I didn't get why she wouldn't open it. My parents weren't there, and all it would require is a thank you text at the very least to acknowledge it. To me, it was the exact same as our friends leaving the party before opening her gifts. She got really frustrated with me and said, "You just don't get how uncomfortable it makes me." About a week after the gift arrived, my parents texted me outside of our group chat and asked if she liked the bag. I told them she still had not opened the gift. They asked me if they had made her uncomfortable, if they had overstepped in any way or something. They've gotten her gifts before that have never gone over like this. I truly did not understand why she was not opening it, and at this point I thought it was borderline rude to not open it and acknowledge the gift. She went out with her friends yesterday evening and I opened the box for her, displayed the bag on the dresser so that the pressure of opening it was removed and we could just move on. I really thought I was doing her a favor and ending this awkward situation. When she got home and saw it, she was pissed. She said she had guessed it was the bag she had wanted and felt awkward knowing it was an expensive gift and that she did not feel comfortable opening it yet. I tried to explain that she was being a bit rude putting it off, but she said it was more rude of me to open it for her. We went to bed shortly after, and she was very short with me this morning. The bag is still sitting on the dresser where I left it. Now last story, story 4. Wipta, if I don't attend my longest friend's wedding? The groom is my longest friend. Him and I met in grade school, and we went to the same middle school and high school together. We went to separate universities, but still remained in contact occasionally. He was the one who would reach out first and ask about how I was doing. I have a few other friends in the same group from middle school, and they also are groomsmen. Him and his fiancée organized a joint bachelor party trip since they are mutual friends to most of the people in the group. They booked an Airbnb in an area about 20 minutes from where I live for 4 nights. They had invited about 20 people and told everyone that they would each have to pay $160 to share the fees for lodging and food. Me and my girlfriend agreed to go, but since we were only 20 minutes away from the Airbnb, we asked the groom if we would have a different price since we will not be staying overnight and we would only be going there for 2 days. He said he would see what he could do. A few days prior to the trip, he sent a message to the group saying that the price has now doubled to $320 per person because 4 people could not make it to the trip, and that everyone would have to pay the same price regardless of how long they are staying at the place. My fiancé and I found this excessive that the price would just double because of 5 people canceling and concluded that the calculation does not seem right. We needed to pay $640 for both of us. It was also BYOB, and both of us do not drink. I was confused and called one of our close friend, who was also a groomsman, to ask if he thinks the price is reasonable and if he thought that the groom and bride are profiting off of this. Now, I was not accusing the groom and bride of profiting off of everyone. I wanted an explanation as to why the price doubled and maybe worded it incorrectly due to my frustration. I did not want to ask the groom directly because he kept telling me how stressed he was and he was getting annoyed at every small question. The other groomsmen completely shut me down and said how I could even think of such a thing and that $320 is very reasonable compared to how other bachelor parties cost. My fiancé and I went to the Airbnb for 2 days, but the attitude of the other groomsmen and the groom was cold towards us. They would refuse any time I would ask if they needed help with cooking or serving, and they would leave me out of their conversations. I paid the $640 to them on the first day itself without any complaint. A few days later, the groom called me to talk and said that I was a backstabber, that I went behind his back and thought that he was profiting off of me, and that I should have talked to him directly if I had an issue with the price. Turns out the other groomsmen told him of our conversation. I was dropped as a groomsman, but he still wants me to attend his wedding events. I am considering not going to the wedding and reception,